Hey, welcome back to the Radium Records channel. I'm Bradley Deniston. In this video, I'm going to break down my latest single, Lonely Road, which has a bunch of live instrumentation on it. I'm going to break down all the plugins, song inspiration, songwriting, recording process, mixing, mastering, and we're just going to break it all down and we're going to have some fun. To start out, let's take a listen to the song. I'm going to play it through the first chorus, and while I'm playing it, I'll scroll around and I'll show you the plugins and the setup of everything, including the master bus and the vocal chain and all that stuff while we play it. And I will break that down in detail later in the video, so stay tuned.
She grew up on the rougher side of town, had to earn her way around with no one to turn to. Ain't no luck, just pavement covered ground where the birds don't make a sound and the sun don't break through. But you know, this little girl had a dream. She'll make it a reality. Make it a reality. And she knows nothing in this life is free, but you get just what you need. You get just what you need. Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely road. Yeah, that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely road.
All right, that is through the first chorus. I wanted to just kind of make a feel-good soul song about that kind of struggle of being judged for how you were born. I didn't choose to be born this way. You know, I was born like lower middle class. My parents were kids when they had kids. They didn't have any money. We didn't have any money. So it was like, cook your own food, go get a job when you're 14. You know what I'm saying? So I've just been working since I was 14 years old. Soul music just kind of feels right to me. But let's break down kind of the production and stuff, because I think a lot of people are going to want to know about, hey, what are the instrumentation? How'd you put this stuff together? This really started with a chord progression, right? So it was this piano, this kind of vintage upright, and I just used the stock Logic vintage upright piano in this, and I just really like the chords. You know, they felt really soulful. I also, when I produce, I constantly put the chords in the chord chart, and I'll show you why later in this session, because it's going to be kind of shocking to some of you guys. A lot of like soulful chords, right? Like we're talking about sevenths. The dominant seventh is always going to be very soulful. So C7, G7, and add 11. I mean, come on now. All right, so this is really where it started, this vintage upright. Just that chord progression was really cool to me. So then I added this organ, which I highly recommend, the UAD Waterfall B3. This thing is stupid. It sounds so good. The most realistic organ that I know of, you know, it just sounds great. So I added this for like bar chords, just texture in the back and padding it. Let's take them to church. That was kind of the vibe that I got from that. So I really love that. And then what I did is I just plugged in my Tele and my Jaguar, and I did like a left-right guitar stuff on this. And I'm going to get into the vocals next because I don't want to wait to get into the vocals. I know that's like one of the most important elements of the song. But this guitar kind of like idea definitely comes from soul music, the hitting right on the snare drum sort of thing, right? So this is where I really got that soul feeling from. I was like, oh yeah. So these sound like these. I mean, that's just so much fun to play, you know? It just has that like, boom, bam, boom, bam. I just love that. So it's right on the drums. My favorite amp right now, and has been for quite a while, is this Milkman Creamer, right? So this thing is so good. And Mixwave, to me, makes some of the best amp sims ever. And I use my Telecaster on the left and then the Jaguar on the right. You know, people hate on the Squire idea. They're like, yo, Squire Jaguar. And I'm like, bro, that Squire Jaguar sounds sick. It sounds so good, especially for this vibe, right? And then I added also on the Jaguar, because you have like the bendy bar, like you bend it, right? So I wanted to get that wave and get that kind of summery sun vibe from it. So I did the same thing. I just kind of verbed this one out a little bit more. You could see 4 40% on the mix, and it sounds like this. It's just like a whammy bar bend. God, that is such a vibe to me. I just love that sound. You guys let me know in the comments what your favorite guitar tone is, because I am also shopping around for a new guitar. And I'm thinking about getting like a Jazzmaster. I don't know, who's a guitar player in here, you know what I'm saying? Say what's up. Because yeah, that's my next purchase, is like a nice cool Jazzmaster, or I found a Gibson, the Firebird. If you guys are familiar with the Firebird, holy shit, those are so dope. Those are really used in soul music a lot. So let's go to the drums, because the drums are really kind of interesting. I think like I started with a loop, which I do a lot. I start with loops a lot in my music. Then I had a live drummer play. His name's Gennaro Florio. I meet a lot of people online that I work with, which is really fun. He's from Vegas, and I sent him the track, and I saw his videos and stuff, and I was like, dude, you got the vibe. That's the vibe I'm looking for. So here's where it was, right? If I unhide, you can see there's a bunch of like different tracks that I muted from his kit, but this is the drum loop that I started with. So I just want to show this to you with a little EQ on it, right? Right, so that was the drum loop, and I was like, had that in with the temp drums, and like you could see I had a snare, and like I did all this programming. I programmed all the drums, did a kick layer, all that stuff, and then I was like, all right, I need live drums on this, because it needs to feel like a live band going on, right? So then, once Gennaro put his stuff down, I hope I'm not butchering his name and he's sitting there cringing, you know? Sorry, dude, love you. You crushed it. But then we got the live drums. So here's the live drums, and I'll go through what I did on the mix as well. Those sound so good. I love how they sound like they're in like a brick room. It's just super soulful to me, super classic soulful. And I added some loops and also some snare ghost roll kind of things here. So just to give it a little different vibe here. So this ghost layer here, I added this in, and I added this loop, percussion loop groove thing, which was really cool. Kind of has like this seashell, like rocks kind of thing. I don't know. So as you can hear for the choruses, I kind of stacked them up with claps, my own claps. You know, I put the clappy pappy on there, and I slapped on this like vintage funk kind of clap sample and some other stuff just to kind of get them popping, you know what I mean? And then drums live here. I kind of layered this in, if you can hear it. So that right there, the drums live, is sort of my idea for parallel compression. So what I did is I bounced the drums completely stereo, and then I threw the Pro Q4 on here and focused really on the mid-range and this thump of the kick drum, and then everything else I just kind of try to tame down as much as possible, and then fed it into this Tube KC1, which is one of my favorite plugins for this kind of like smashed drum tone, and this is from Kive Audio. These guys make amazing shit. Audioscape and Kive Audio are some of my favorites, along with Mixwave. Holy shit, like they make my job so much easier, so shouts to these guys. So good. So check this out with and without the compression here, this KC1. I'm just going to solo this actually, so you can really hear what this is doing. That is just beautiful to me. You start to bring that into the kit and you get this like amazing punchy, fat warm vintage tone that happens that it just makes the drums come alive, you know? It thickens them up as well. So this snare layer, nothing to it really. I'm just sending it to this QR5, which is actually built into Logic Pro and is an amazing reverb. Really, really good. If you're not using it, definitely start messing with that because it's free. It's included with Logic. All right, and then all the claps and stuff, just a little bit of EQ and stuff. Then the vintage soul clap here, I threw the Mixland tape on here, the 3348. If you're not familiar with this, get familiar. It's very dope. You'll see it come up in other places in the mix. So yeah, just going through these claps and everything really quick because I don't want to bore you guys to death. The claps here, virtual mix because I was recording them through the Slate ML1 microphone, which I absolutely love. So good, and it helps me with my vintage sound, obviously. When I'm doing soul, throwback, kind of vintage soul, indie soul, retro pop kind of stuff, that microphone is invaluable. All right, and then we got the tambourine, which has the rabbit tape. So good for vibe and color. Here's what it sounds like on the tambourine, because you got to hear like just these little subtle things stacked over the whole mix is what's going to give it that warm, oh, it sounds like it went to tape sort of vibe. So you can hear that this was actually played by the drummer, and I just did some EQ rabbit tape and then sent it again to the QR5. So we're just giving it some room, some space. And then the ride cymbal, you know, I did a little bit of fixing here where I wanted the bell to come out a little bit more, you know, for detail at 3K. You got the hi-hats. I typically do this with hi-hats, right? So I keep them kind of dark, but I also don't sweep out everything. So I come up to like 400, sometimes only up to 300 because I still want that, you know, that dirt dog. All right, and then we got the overheads left and right. Let's check out what we're doing with the overheads. We got auto align on. So auto align was aligning my overheads because it sounded like they were a little bit out of phase, which happens, you know, you're recording drums and you're doing all this work and something falls out of phase. So the overheads are aligned to the snare and yeah, just kind of tightens them up. I'll show you before and after with the auto align. And then I also have a Pro Q3 on here to balance out the overheads. Because what ends up happening is like the snare drum can get skewed to the left or right because you're hearing the punch of the snare drum in one overhead more. So what I try to do with this EQ is just balance out the overheads so they feel more balanced. So I'll bypass in and out this stuff. You got to get really analytical with your listening to hear that, but that is like more punch to the snare, more focused center image. If you got headphones on or you're hearing in some good speakers, let me know. Let me know in the comments. You guys got to show love on the videos, man, or else I really just, it's hard for me to want to do all these. It's a lot of work. All right. So, and I appreciate you guys coming through, by the way, and dropping love. So here's the snare here, and you can see I did a lot on this. This is aligned to the overheads. We have the R comp, right? So this is going to give it some thwack, which I love. So I'm attacking pretty hard. And yeah, and then I got the UAD Pultec, and I'm boosting 60 and barely just touching the attenuation. And then real broad on the bandwidth on the top here, because the bandwidth does not affect the bottom, just the top here, where I'm boosting up 8K. And 8K is somewhere where I love to hit on the snare drum. So check this out. I'm just going to bypass all of this, besides the auto align, so you can hear what this is doing. Like just fatten that snare up, make it real big and fat, right? Just a fat boy. And the Pro Q3, 4, there you go. And we're just kind of taming a little bit of that fatness. And then we're hitting it with the orange clip. Orange clip 3 is dope because it has the multiband. So I'm multiband clipping on this, bypassing this in and out. You can hear what it's doing. so subtle, but I'm shaving off the tops a little bit so that when it goes to the next gain stage, we're gonna get more room. All right, so drum mix bus. I'm not gonna go through all this because this is crazy, man. Like if I went through all this stuff, you guys would be like, huh? Go cross-eyed, you know what I'm saying? Orange clip comes up again on the drum mix bus, but let's bypass these in and out because this is mainly shaping the drums, and then we're clipping them a little bit just to give kind of more headroom, right? So let's listen to all the drums going through the drum mix bus. I'll bypass in and out so you can really hear those, and then we'll move on to vocals because everyone loves vocals. Oh man, they're so bombastic. I love it. So that's really like the bombastic nature of these drums is all about getting the processing right, the paralleling, auto-aligning everything, getting everything phase accurate. You know, that's what I'm doing here. Snare drum, fattening it up. The kick actually had neutron on it, which is a transient shaper. So that's bypassed. I don't know why. Maybe it's not installed on my new computer, but that really is a great plugin just for getting a little bit more attack. And this kick, I aligned it as well. So this was aligned with auto align to everything else so we can get the phase accuracy. And then what do we got on the kick? Pro G, right? Gating it. Pro Q3. Look at this. We're doing some crazy shit there. Let's listen to that. Yeah, so I wanted that kick to be more pinned out. It sounds like I wanted it to cut through the mix a little bit more, which it does. It cuts nicely. And then this mono ribbon was really dope, and I threw the rabbit tape on there with some Pro Q3 and shaped it. One tip for you guys, big tip, 400 to 500 area, like this area right here in drums, a lot of the times can get really papery. So just pay attention to that with room mics, mono overheads, snare drum mics, kick drum mics, etc. You can get like this stacking frequency of, 440, 500 hertz where it sounds like papery, cardboardy. So I just kind of sweep that out. But let's listen to this mono ribbon before and after with these plugs. Dude, if you guys don't have rabbit tape, go buy that right now because it's going to be one of those things you use on so many things. Rabbit tape is absolutely one of my favorite plugins. And I know I got a lot of favorite plugins, but this one, it is up there. It's like straight up there. Like it's so good. I mean, you can hear it. It sounds so freaking awesome. All right, so let's get into some vocals. All right, so the vocals, very basic, really. It seems like a lot, right? But let's bypass everything so you can just hear the raw vocal. 'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Like right away, it's going to be hard because without the virtual mix bus thing on, you're not getting the modeling of the microphone. But right away, you can hear it's coming in hot, and I'm printing it with probably stuff in the console on the UAD. So I'm just going to show you the UAD console so you guys don't feel like, what the hell, man? I tried that and it doesn't sound anything like your vocals. Like that's because when I'm printing my vocals, I'm cutting through a plugin chain. That's pretty close to what I have right now on my voiceover right here. So I have compression, I have EQ, I have another compressor, right? So there's a lot of compression. And I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea that like we don't use a shit ton of compression in records, because we do. It's very, very constant. And if you're a professional in mixing, recording, producing, you're going to get compression, 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 compression. I mean, 30 dB of compression, 45 dB of compression when you stack it all together, right? It's a lot of compression. And that's why it sounds like a record. Let's be real. So this is what it is here. This is my virtual mix. I'm just going to bring the vocal in, and we're going to listen to just that virtual mix here.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely road.
So as you can hear, I'm pretty in pitch. Like there's not a whole lot of like too flat or sharp of notes, right? But I do have Metatune on here because I like the sound of it and I like to cut my vocals through it, right? And I do this with the Auto-Tune, I'll do it with Metatune, I'll do it with Waves Tune. It does not matter. What you got is what you got, right? So a little bit of that just to really kind of gloss it up and make it a little more pop.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely road.
Pretty straightforward. Now the Pro Q3 cleaning up, getting a little bit of that boom handled. Let's solo out that frequency.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own.
Now, a lot of people will take way too much of that out. But remember, this is soul music, right? Like that vocal should be full and thick. And I probably did some more shaping, but here's the Pro DS doing some de-essing. I'm not going to show you that. It's like just de-essing. And then this is where we start to really shape. So let's hear this EQ in and out.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely road.
So that really thins the vocal out. And you might think, oh, that's too thin. It sounds too thin. Yeah, because the vocal's soloed. And if you mix in solo, you're a moron. You don't know what you're doing. I'm sorry. Like, you're either a moron or you're just getting started, right? And that's okay. If you're just getting started, you're not a moron. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings. I love you. I love you for being here, and I hope that this is really helpful. And if it is helpful, this video is helpful, drop some love in the comments, all right? Just show some love. That's all I'm asking. I don't need much from y'all. All right? So, to thicken it out, I have a left and right. Double.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely road.
Right? Okay, so this is all about thickness, right? But without it, it sounds thin. It's like this thin vocal. So that's why I EQ'd it this way. All right, now we're going to thicken up here, though, when we hit this guy. Okay, this V comp is like my magic butter sauce right here. It's so good. So this is like a stay level, copy or whatever. Single, fast on the release. Usually I'll do like 4, but I'm doing 5 here. And then going vintage style, and this is what it sounds like with the comp.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely.
So what I love about this compressor on vocals, to really break this down, is when the vocal is let loose, right? It has like this peaky, like 2K, 2.4K, like these little peaky points that happen. But when I turn this on, it just smooths that right out. It just compresses it down. And it's really good at that because it's a tube compressor. And look, I'm blending it in 41%. It's not even 100%. It's just paralleled. So this is just a great way to smooth it out and get the top in not so like gross, you know what I mean? So there's like those gross peaky things that I just get rid of. Because if it's too peaky and I send it through a reverb, all of a sudden that peak is just, it's like firing off in the reverbs. Just like Jedi shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I get it. I get it. Y'all get really excited about Star Wars. I'm just not really fucking with it that heavy. Valhalla vintage verb. Here we go. This is where we start to get our depth and our space.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely road. Yeah, that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely.
Is this helpful? You guys liking this? Let me know. Drop a little like, give me some love here. Come on. I'm spending my time with y'all. All right. And my time is like my favorite thing to keep to myself. So it's fun to do this, but yeah, show some love. Hit the like button if you're getting anything out of it. If you're not, then you're probably not even here anyway. So UAD got this AMS. This is like my extra, right? So you can see I'm doing this in series, right? So I'm blending in the Valhalla, which is, you know, you can check out the settings there. You can screenshot it, whatever. But this is like the secret for my vocal reverb, which I get compliments on my vocal reverb all the time. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know, you know what, but I'm going into this AMS RMX 16. I just open it up and it's on this setting, right? It's like this ambience setting. And then I go to the dry wet and I take it down to either 12 to 6, right? And this is what it sounds like.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely.
Well, I'm trying to do a true A-B for you, but it's just getting all screwy. But anyway, you can hear how big it gets. Now let's put it in the mix.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely road. Yeah, that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life.
Woo, it's so beautiful, right? It just thickens it out. It's like, whoa, a new world, a whole new world. All right, so anyway, so that's all going there. And then that goes to the stereo master bus. I'm not going to go through every single vocal because every vocal is just a little bit different, but you can see the chain is pretty similar, right? It's like copied down, and then I tweak stuff, right? That's how I do my vocals. You guys can do your vocals however you want, but hopefully you're getting some game out of this. Now, master bus, because everyone wants to know what's on the master bus, right? We got the Soothe 2. It's just always, for me, it's the DS low, mid, cleanup 1 or 2. These are the presets I love on the master bus and the only ones I use under mastering advance, DS low, mid, cleanup 1 and 2. Chris Longwood, he's got it. He's dialed in, bro. Like, this is the guy. All right, this is what I do. Leave it on soft, sharpness, selectivity I mess with, but check this out.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely road. Yeah, that's the way it goes.
It just like takes all the stuff that's going like, you know, and it's like, and it gets it focused. And I love that. And that's the dial that I love there. All right. And then we got Goldfoss. Goldfoss is just going crazy by itself because this is what it does when you're not playing anything. But here's what it's got.
'Cause that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life can be a lonely road. Yeah, that's the way it goes when you're out here on your own. Life.
I love Goldfoss. I don't care what anyone says online or offline. Goldfoss is dope. And it's so musical, and that's what I do with it right there. Just open up the mix. That's all it's doing. It's so beautiful that way. All right, UAD Manley, variable mu. Magic sauce, baby. Now, listen, I'm going to turn this off, and we're going to play it.
He grew up on the polished side of town. Papa wasn't around, and Mama put in the work too. All his luck with.
Just tightens it up, right? And obviously I'm using this as a gain stage. So I'm gaining it down. You can hear that it's losing volume. And some people are, oh, it sounds better without it, right? Not to me, because it doesn't sound like a record as much. So the Manley variable mu makes it sound like a record. It focuses it, it glues it, it tightens it up. It's like, yeah, there it is. And it's like, that's a record, right? So that's what it does for me. All right, this is one that I don't use often, but because this is kind of retro pop and indie soul, you know, it's got that, you know, it's got the funk in there. It's got the Motown in there. So UAD Hitsville EQ. Now this is a mastering EQ. You have basically a peak and dip for each of the bands down here, right? And then you have left and right or mid and side. And you could just see I'm doing very little. I got a peak at what, 6.5? Yeah, 65 hertz. We got a peak, or maybe 130. It depends on what's going on here. Yeah, so if you half it or normal it. So normal I think is what, 130 or 60? Yeah, 130. So if I half it, it's going to go, whoop, that's going to go to the 65. So it's on normal. So this is peaking 130, 1 dB. And then what else we got? 2K, peak 1 dB, and peak 12.5 at 2 dB. Okay, so let's bypass this in and out. It's just giving it some shine.
With marble covered ground, where the money don't run out, and everything is brand new. But you know, this little boy had a dream. He'll make it a reality. Make it a reality. And he knows all things in life are free.
Ooh, that is so musical. Like I'm impressed at myself for like having that much refrain. Like a dB, I'm gonna do 2 dB. This is so good. Sounds great to me. And that's what matters is you make your music, you mix how you like your shit to sound. You feel me? So, and if you have the skills and the know-how and you can watch these videos and take some game from it and apply it to your music and make it sound how you have in your head, that's what matters. Don't let anyone else tell you differently. Just keep chasing that sound in your head. All right, so here we go. This is what we got going on here. Gold clip. I'm going to get some headroom. We're going to clip off just the tops here.
But he won't get what he needs. No, he won't get what he needs. Cause that's the way it goes. When you're out here on your own, life can be a lonely road. Yeah, that's the way it goes. When you're out here on your own, life can be a lonely road.
Woo! That is saucy. Gold clip just makes everything sound better. I'm just clipping off the very top of the snare, as you can see, but I'm adding some gold, which is kind of like a compression, tape compression kind of thing. And then alchemy, which is like some like top end limiting, which kind of limits the top like sizzle stuff. And I think this is really good on the style of music I make because it just makes it this like really warm, beautiful tone. This is an amazing plugin. I highly recommend it to anybody that's like super serious about mastering and they're trying to get that dialed in, you know? The God Particle is back. G. What up, G? I love this plugin. Obviously, I talk about it all the time in a bunch of my streams and stuff, but here are the settings for it. Let's bypass it in and out. God damn, that's sexy. So I just love the God Particle. I use it all the time. It's my last limiter. And the reason being is because it's an adaptive limiter. It does really well with the low end. Now for the most surprising part of this mix, I actually used the bass player, AI bass player in Logic Pro. I know, shame on me, but it just locked in, bro. Like I found what I wanted and it did exactly what I wanted. And then I just went in here and I tweaked a few things, right? Like I just cleaned it up a little bit with some EQ and yeah, it's pocketed. It sounds so good, right? So here's this with just the drums live.
Ain't no luck, just pavement covered ground where the birds don't make a sound.
Don't tell anyone. Shh. That's my secret AI bass player, bro. The Logic AI bass player is fucking fire. It sounds so good. And last but not least, I just want to give this some, the full circle. And if you guys have questions at all that I'm not answering because you're like, oh, but talk more about this, you know, I get it. But like, I don't want this video to be like 3 hours long. So just drop your questions in the comments and I will come and I will answer those questions. All right. And I'll even make new videos about different stuff if you guys have something that you really want me to break down more. or go more detail in. All right, so I got my guy, Andrew Morgan Smith, and he's in New Orleans, and he just crushes the horn game. So every time I have a song now, I'm like, hey, Andrew, you want to play horns on it? Yeah, he crushes it. So he does all the sax, everything, and then he programs the trumpets and trombones, and I think flugel. So he plays all the saxes because he's a sax player, right? He's a reeds player. So let's hear just the saxes.
No!
Right, so those are just the saxes, and he's playing all those. But then listen to how well he programs this stuff. This is everything else. This is all samples and programming. So if you want to hire him, definitely hit me up. Drop a I need horns sort of thing. This guy will crush it for you. So, and he does it all on his own. Great composer as well. So check this out. These are all programmed. Like, damn, Andrew, what's up? AMS is what I call him. Andrew Morgan Smith. Let me know. I'll hook you up with Andrew. He's dope. And yeah, he'll sauce up your tracks for sure. So here's what we got on the Valves bus, which I just call it the Valves bus, but really it's got all the horns going to it. All right, this is a big one. This is a really, really, pay attention. Are you paying attention? Valves bus, all right, Pro Q3. This is where we do some mid-side stuff. So I have on the sides, I'm pushing that 545. That's where you get the brass, the you know, out of the horns. I just push that into the sides. And then I'm taking in the stereo, I'm dipping down 312, and I'm getting rid of this in the middle only 1100 because I want to make room for the vocals. And then the sides, I'm throwing the 6K in there because that's that brassy, that zing at the top. That's the horn going, right? And I love that. Tube Tech, this is one of my favorite compressors of all time on horns. So this is a multi-band tube compressor. Now I'm going to bypass in and out those two. You hear how it just fattens them up, and it also kind of like makes them stand up to attention. That's all it's doing. It's very subtle, actually. And you probably hear it a lot more if I bypassed this stuff as well. So the Studer, but check this out. I'm just going to bypass these with those bypass as well. Bypass. All right, Studer, giving it some tape compression. That's what we're doing here. We're controlling them better. And then we're giving it some space and room with this bad boy. This is one of my favorite for horns, especially when I'm doing this Motown idea. Obviously, Hitsville, it is the Motown, you know, chamber. So, like, what else you want from me?
Nothing in this life is free, but you get just what you need. You get just what you need. 'Cause that's the way it goes.
That is it. Those are the horns. That's the bass, the guitars, that's the vocals, that's the drums, that's the If you guys like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I got a lot more game coming for you, and I got a link in the description to the song. So if you guys want to go check out the song, go save it to your playlist, go show some love, you know, tag me in it. Like, make a post on your Instagram or whatever and tag me. I'll share it. I'll get you some reach, right? Thank you so much for tuning into the video. Thanks for listening to the music. I got a lot more music coming, and I'll do breakdowns like this as long as you guys keep showing up, all right? Peace.